359,000 people, fueling a modest improvement in unemployment picture. While new numbers on the GDP are pretty rough, they show that the economy is still indeed very sluggish. And that's where we start with Stuart Varney, host of Varney & Company on the Fox Business Network. Stuart, that GDP number is a downward revision, and it's a very rough picture in terms of growth.
Yes, it means that America's economy right now is at stall speed, going nowhere, extremely low rate of growth. Think about it, Martha. We've come from 4% growth at the end of last year, 2.5% growth at the beginning of this year. Now we're down to just 1.3% growth. That is it. As I say, I think that's stall speed for America's economy. Less consumer spending, less business investment in the April through June quarter. I've got another number for you that also confirms a very weak economy. Durable goods orders, that's big ticket items like cars, trucks, machinery and planes, down 13.2% in the latest period. That's the lowest order book for factories all the way back to 2009. So when you add it all up, we're at stall speed. Feels like we're going into recession, and to a majority of people, it feels like we are in a recession already. Very rough numbers today, Martha.
Yeah, indeed they are. And as you point out, sort of how people feel about the economy is, I always say, a very individual experience, you know. Yeah. But when you look at these numbers, it spells a pretty tough scenario for growth in the United States of America. 1.3 is a paltry number in terms of growth. Let's go back and talk a little bit about the unemployment number. Every Thursday, we get the weekly read on that. What's your take on that one?
Okay, we are down. Last week, 385,000 jobless claims. And by the way, that was revised upward, as they do these days. There's always revising last week's number up. This week's number, 359. Okay, that is lower. But it's still a very high rate of firings, of layoffs. 359,000, 3 years after a recession ended. That's a far too high a number. It should be much more like 250,000 jobless benefit claims, not 359. Shouldn't be that high.
Well, we had new waves of layoffs at Bank of America, American Airlines, among others, so they do keep coming. Stuart, thank you very much. Stuart Varney coming up just a little while on FBN. And in the meantime, since December of 2007, U.S. weekly jobless claims, let's take a look at the big picture. They have stubbornly stayed above 300,000, and they spiked early in 2009, as you can see pretty clearly on this chart. So economists say that weekly claims must consistently fall below 375,000, which is shown by the yellow line. You can see it's been hugging that yellow line for the past several months, and that would indicate, once it gets below it, that we're actually in a strong environment and adding jobs. This new report shows that last week's 359,000 claims dipped below that line. If it were to keep going in that direction, you'd have something to talk about.
Stuart points out that we have never been in this place before, economically speaking.